So implementation. We were talking about implementation for the PEO or employee benefits, wherever it is. Your carrier, your relationship with them, they usually have their own app. Same thing with the PEO. If you work with Aetna through TriNet or through JustWorks or UHC through Insperity, anything like that, you still have access to their technology for the carrier. But generally you want to find a way to synthesize all that stuff, right? So how do you do that? In the implementation process, you're going to have to transfer over your payroll data. If it's 1/1, you don't have quite as much stuff. That's why people like 1/1. They say, hey, it's a new tax year. I don't have to worry about doing an audit. Did we pay all the taxes? Those types of things. But truth be told, it really, who cares if it's something you want to do mid-year? You got enough support around you, and these people are open 24, not 20, 365 all year long. This is what they do. So let them do their thing and help you out with this process. But you want to make sure you have a vendor kickoff, right? Whether it's the PEO, new payroll provider, Ben admin, whatever it may be. Then you want to prepare and export the data, which, by the way, is going to be a lot of the same info you used in the beginning. But you're going to want to make sure it's updated, because if it's 45 days old, you might have put people on, taken people off. It's worth it going through it again. Then you want to finalize your benefit strategy, meaning what's the company's contribution, right? So an example might be if your plan, let's say you gave $1,000 and you weren't on a PEO before, but now you're paying an extra $200 a month for people to be on the benefits, well, or even $100 a month. It's not a $1,200. Do you want to shift that to the employees, or are you going to eat that as the employer? Or did you end up getting a $500 or $400 savings in the plans that were $1,000 are now $600, and you want to just split it equally, right? It depends. That's why we want to have a benefit strategy session and figure out exactly what it is we want to do, because we're going to put that in the system, and we want to plan for open enrollment. You do want to spend a good amount of time planning for open enrollment, figuring out how it's going to go down, because whether you come off of a PEO, people's expectations might be a little bit higher. Maybe the technology is not as robust, or you're stepping into a situation where now you've added not only health, dental, vision, life, accidental, hospital indemnity, 401k, FSA, HSA, all these different things. You got to plan for how you're going to educate employees on this fantastic benefits program that you just threw out there in the world. You don't want to just go into the open enrollment meeting and just do whatever, right? Oh, we'll just go through the plan. It will be easy. Why? The more time you spend planning here, the more clear it is, the less time you're going to spend after the open enrollment meeting answering all these questions from the employees. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the questions that we get. I mean, sometimes, like, we've had HR people tell us in the very beginning, as we were, developing our open enrollment strategy, we had some people on board to the PEOs, and it seemed like, yeah, the PEO should handle it. No, they don't always handle it. They don't. Or you may not get somebody who's that great at it yet. Right. So you want to make sure you understand what's the game plan. Are you going to handle it internally and announce to your employees what they have, what it looks like? Right. Some HR people are brilliant and they're able to get this done. Maybe they even enjoy it. Some people don't. I know for our clients, sometimes they ask us to step in and support, and we basically cover some of the tracks. We also have, for our clients as well, we have certain HR business partners that are in our network and our ecosystem, where usually this process, the open enrollment, this is where they come in and they start helping you put in the systems. Like, we got one partner where they're specialized in doing implementations. They used to be employees of, ADP or TriNet or Rippling or Insperity, and they're experts at doing this. They're used to doing this 60 times a month, right? 2 or 3 times a day. This is all they do all day long. Brilliant at it, right? You can get somebody like that that's a service provider and help you out. The next thing we want to do is we want to prepare for our first payroll. That's super important. There's 2 things you don't want to mess up when you're making this transition. 1, you want to pay people on time. 2, you don't want to lapse in coverage for the insurance. But you already covered that because you got open enrollment. And the first payroll review, you want to make sure that the numbers are right. You want to make sure that the deductions are correct. You want to make sure that the deductions align with the open enrollment selection that your employees had. And you don't want it to even be off a penny, because it will kind of mess up your report. It will mess up your reports. Your 1094C, your 1095C, the employee's W-2, all that stuff might be messed up. And you want to make sure that the payroll is done smoothly. Because as great as these companies are, They're going to, PEOs, they take on liability for a lot of things. They're going to tell you you're responsible for the information that you give us because we're responsible for making sure that once submitted, it's properly remitted to the right tax entities, your workers' comp is paid. We're going to make sure your employees are paid on time. All those things will happen. Yes, but it's going to be based off of what you tell them to pay because you have control of who works there, how much they make, and who to pay how much. Right? Account strategy review. The implementation process is a good time for you to understand the account strategy. So I don't want to sugarcoat it. If you have time and attendance needs and it's pretty heavy, the first payroll or so, you're probably not going to have the same time and attendance. It's not going to be all integrated. Not, especially not if we're doing 45 days. No. If they tell you that they can have it all implemented and ready to go the day one, then like you'll know it because you will have gone through all your processes. If they're not even aware of how you collect time and who needs to actually click a button, which managers need approval, is there a VP that needs to be involved? Are you using Kronos now? Are you, do you have job costing and labor distribution reports? If you haven't gotten into those details, there's no way that it's absolutely getting done on day one, and that's okay because you're still collecting time today and you can find a way to keep that strategy going. But that's why you want to have an implementation timeline where they should review that, and also your account strategy review so that you can see like, well, when are we going to start to phase that in? Is it in 6 weeks? Is it in 10 weeks? Is it, next quarter? Are there other more important items that we need to focus on, like recruiting? Because maybe we just have all salaried leaders right now and we're not in that phase where we need to collect time. That's why we want to have an account strategy review. And your implementation, for the most part, I mean, look, a lot of the work, when done right and done well, is done up front over here. So getting this implementation, I mean, it may take a couple of meetings, 2, 3 meetings. But if you've been guided by somebody who knows what they're doing along the way, then this is a pretty smooth process. We estimate, like for our clients, it typically takes like 5 to 6 days, if that. And that's going through all this. This is generally like maybe one meeting and then you get a homework assignment. Same meeting, and then you get a homework assignment. And then you do another meeting. This is probably what will take the bulk of your time in onboarding. Payroll, that should be one meeting because you're going to work with the payroll specialist or an implementation specialist that does payroll implementations all the time. So again, this is the implementation process here. It takes about 6 days in total. Probably take you a total of like 5 to 10 hours, just depending on how good your team is at doing this. Now, moving forward, what do we do?